Hey guys, I'm Jordan Duffy and I will be teaching you about the basic emotion disgust. So, what is disgust? 30 years ago, Paul Ekman said disgust is a feeling of aversion. This is an emotion you feel when you just want to avoid whatever's happening. Like fear, it is an emotion where something might go wrong and your first thought is to run away from the problem. So, taste of something you want to spit out. I hate tomatoes so much. I've always hated tomatoes. I will never give them a chance. It's just something I'm disgusted by. And that was a thought process I made up 20 years ago. Even the thought of tomatoes makes me disgusted. So you don't necessarily have to eat the food, smell the food, see the food. You could just think about it and you could be feeling the emotion disgust. So, disgust, you might also want to block a smell from your nasal passage, maybe garbage, spoiled food, whatever it might be. You might be disgusted by that smell. But your response to it is to block the smell from getting to your nose, as well as sight or sound you may never want to hear or see. You avoid this, or you leave this situation. You cover your eyes so you don't see it. You cover your ears so you don't hear what's going on. It is getting you out of a specific situation. So, like I said, disgust can be a thought you have created. I told myself whenever I tried tomatoes forever ago, they're disgusting, and I stuck by that. Someone else might dislike tomatoes. So, for example, if I made a sandwich and had tomatoes on it, I'm not eating the sandwich, even if I take them off. Someone else might hate tomatoes as well, but they might not be as disgusted as I am and will eat the sandwich after removing the tomatoes. So, it's a scale in your own brain. So, Rosen found the most potent triggers of disgust were feces, vomit, urine, mucus, and blood, which all makes sense because they're bodily fluids we have most likely all experienced and know how disgusting they are. So, I want to tell you guys about the American psychologist Gordon Allport. He suggested this idea that disgust is a thought experiment. So, what is this? It's kind of like what I was just talking about, how in our own head we come up with an idea of when is something disgusting, when is it not, how far can we reach for that. So, his experiment was I want you all to swallow in your mouth. Swallow the saliva in your mouth. Is that disgusting? No, we do it every day. What if you were told to spit in a cup and then drink what you had just spit in that cup? Would you do that? Or is that considered disgusting? And of course, everyone in this group said that is disgusting. So it gets to a certain point. Facial expressions. This is extremely important because disgust, you must have all the facial expressions together. If you're happy, you're going to be smiling. You see a smile, you're gonna know you're happy. If you're showing your teeth, you're not gonna be like, "Ugh, I'm so angry." No, you're happy. So we might have eyebrows raised or pulled down. We might have closed eyes, slightly open, a wrinkled nose, upper lip quiver. You can see this guy in this photo is doing it. Or raised lip, an unsure, questionable smile might be like, I don't know about those tomatoes. Or puffed up cheeks or pursed lips. That would be on the edge of throwing up. Okay, so for my examples, I did not think there were going to be enough examples throughout the movie because I associated disgust with food, and I was trying to remember from prior experiences of seeing the movie, and I was like, I mean, I know she eats broccoli, but is there a ton of examples. There actually is. And this first quote has a lot to do with that. So it says, this is Joy talking about the responsibilities that disgust has for Riley. And it says, disgust keeps Riley from being poisoned, physically and socially. I found this extremely interesting because first it says poisoned, so we know that obviously it's avoiding these dangerous situations or a situation you don't want to be in. And it says socially, and I thought, what does that mean? And this first example, or the second example, perfectly explains it. So her parents are at her new hockey tryouts, her new hockey game, and they are completely dressed up. You can see all the other parents dressed completely normal, and Riley's just kind of embarrassed. She's the new girl. She's like, you guys don't have to go to every game. Okay, I gotta go. She didn't want to be spotted talking to these crazy looking people in the stands. Although this may be more embarrassment, disgust was the character running this scene. She was pressing buttons on the control panel, and she even says, like, I know my parents love me, but we can't show it. So this is just disgust kind of being like, ugh, yeah, I know they love me, whatever. It's like that sarcastic annoyance. So you can see for facial expressions right here, a perfect picture, that her eyes are wide open, her eyebrows are turned, and her mouth is kind of like wide open and a little bit smirked. For examples 3 and 4, so Rosin had to come into effect here. He mentions that disgust was not developed before the age of 4, which I found very interesting. It says in his studies that we might not like something, but we don't know the emotion disgust. So as for food, this first example, it says, this looks new, okay, caution, there's a dangerous smell. Riley was just placed a big bowl of broccoli in front of her, and you can see that the smell and the look of disgust on her face. For the next quote, it says, hold on, what's that? This is disgust talking. She's running through Riley's head, and she's like, I smell something. It doesn't smell great. So like I said before the age of 4, we don't know what disgust is. So the dad does the little airplane move, puts the food in her mouth, and she likes the food. This proves Rosin's point in that kids don't know what disgust is at that young of an age. If she was truly disgusted by the taste, the smell, everything, she would have spit it up. Like later in the movie, when there is broccoli on a slice of pizza, she kind of throws up a little bit and is like, ugh, that's disgusting, because she's old enough to have those developed emotions. So I thought this was interesting, little find, that in Japan version, or the Japanese version, they use bell peppers because most kids in Japan love broccoli. So it would have been confusing if they would have put broccoli on there. Okay, so for contempt. Contempt is related to, but different from disgust. Paul Ekman explains how contempt is only experienced about people or the actions of people. So one of my roommates might possibly, I don't know, not wash his pans with soap. That can be contempt. Like, it can also be disgusting. But that's the action of someone and not so much like the smell or the taste of what's going on. This can vary in strength and intensity, and contempt is more company with anger. So I might be a little angry when I find out that my roommate doesn't use soap to wash dishes. So, for example, 5 and 6, Riley is moving into her house. This is Riley talking and discuss, and she says, "I'm telling you, it smells like something died in here, a dead mouse. I think I'm gonna be sick." Riley sniffs the air, something smells bad. She also sees the dead mouse, and she's like, "Ugh, disgusting." Turns away, avoids the situation. If it was a different emotion, if the mouse may have been alive, she might have gone and killed it with anger or sadness. She could have seen the dead mouse and been like, "Oh, that's so sad, like the mouse died." But disgust, runs away, avoids the situation. The next quote is blah, and this is when there's a fly buzzing around Riley. She's doing her homework and she splats it on one of her books. She's eyes are squinted. She sticks her tongue out. She looks away. No longer wants to see the problem. The little character discussed in this scene is behind the control panel throwing up. Examples 7 and 8. Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. So this was actually an interesting example because disgust is not supposed to be in charge, but Joy is gone on her journey, and disgust is trying her best to be like Joy, but it is a sarcastic and not a genuine comment. This last quote is, "You're too dumb to understand. Of course your tiny brain is confused. I guess I'll just have to dumb it down to your level." So again, we see in this quote that disgust, the little character, she is very straight to the point, sarcastic, mean, like she just overall a complex little character with a ton of things to say. This scene is discussed talking to Anger about how to solve a problem. She makes Anger look stupid in the moment. These last two examples illustrate how disgust can be a bit of a confusing emotion. It does not mix well with other emotions, where you might be sad and angry at the same time. You're not really going to be disgusted and happy. So disgust is definitely more complex. In conclusion, throughout the movie Inside Out, we know that disgust is seen as a grossed out, annoyed, and sarcastic character. You can see in this photo, she's not having it. Facial expressions include lifted eyebrows, wide or squinted eyes, a nose wrinkle, a lip quiver, puffed cheeks, on the edge of vomiting. We learned that disgust can be a self-thought image, however you perceive whatever you want to avoid. And it's important to our existence because it can help us stay away from our own difficult situations. It lets us be like, listen, we've had this before. It's not great. We're not going to have it again. It keeps us from avoiding that experience. Okay, thank you guys so much.